our students do have to go into settings where they will have the opportunity to observe behaviors, to do assessments in the sense of keeping data or information about what's happening in the settings, what might be problematic for the individual in terms of the environment, what programs are being used already with the student. So they need to be able to gather that data and create a draft behavior program. But that opens up a lot of different settings, surprisingly enough. We just heard from Center for Addiction and Mental Health, and they want more of our students in their forensic department, and a couple of new addictions agencies. So, there's lots of work, placement experience. I think it's the same for all our programs. Lots of times our students end up getting employment where they've done their placements. That's a starting point for them in terms of employment. And then, when I hear from people who graduated a while back, not only have they been employed where they did placement, they're moving up the ladder. So someone who's recently become a manager in a youth treatment home, for example. So the placement experience, which we all share, is so incredible. That opportunity to hear it in the classroom and see it in the real world is invaluable, really. We have students who graduate and go into a real variety of areas. We actually had one who graduated as a lawyer, so go figure. That was kind of a surprise, different. We have several who have become teachers, special education in particular. Teachers, we have 3 grads who have become speech and language pathologists. We have someone right now who's graduated with a master's in organizational behavior. So she's working in the human resources department of a very, very large agency. We do have people who become clinical psychologists and social workers as well. Even someone who is working in environmental planning from the perspective of human geography. How does environment impact people's lives and their behaviors, basically? So it's really fascinating to watch the little birdies leave the nest and fly off into their careers and see all of the very, very exciting areas that they end up working in. One of the most important things that we focus a lot on is interprofessional collaboration. In other words, working with people who have various backgrounds academically and in terms of their skill set and their work experience. Lots of people have no idea what applied behavior analysis is. So quite often, our graduates are walking into a situation where they are educating, if you will, or informing people about what we do and how we work with others. So that's very important. We have also a focus on working in communities. The fact that the issues are not just the person. As a matter of fact, they very seldom are just the person. But if we're going to go in and do our job, we have to recognize that the people we're working with, the families, the agencies, the schools, and so on, they have their own issues too. And we're not working in a pristine setting where we just go in and say, do this, and everybody goes, oh yeah, we'll do it. They have financial restrictions, they have their own family lives, health issues, mental health issues. So we need to develop skills in recognizing what's happening with other people and in other institutions, and being realistic with them, but also supportive of them. And that's very different. I mean, often people think that all I'm going to do is my job, and that's great. But I think they have to realize that this is happening in a context, and the context is other people's lives as well. So we really talk a lot about that. We try to give our students more experiences than just the classroom. Aside from placement, we do have some funding for them to go to conferences, for example, which I think is really important. We also, similar to what Akil said, we have research grants, and our students can be research assistants. And we really, really want them to think of themselves as professionals in a broad sense. yes, they have particular knowledge base and skill base, but they're working in so many different settings, in so many different types of jobs, and we want them to understand that they are human services professionals. They're really well qualified, they're really skilled, and they can work in a variety of areas and follow their own hearts in terms of what appeals to them. Who do they want to work with? And so I think that we're very, very deliberate in giving them that broad range of choices.